Hi, everybody. It's Katie Joe, and this is Sacred Soul. And I want to chat with you just a little bit about motherhood. So I'm sitting here today, and it's the full moon, and I'm watching what happens in the political climate. And as I'm watching what's happening in the political climate, I'm just asking these questions about motherhood. And whether you agree or disagree with the political choices being made about choice or non-choice, here's what I think is interesting is I think that women are judged for being a mother, what kind of mother they are. It's like I feel like we judge ourselves, and I also feel like we judge others. And those are the comments that always come in. And you see a lot of social media and you see a lot of questions happening when there's stars and there's women actresses being asked, how do you balance family and career? And those are the questions that you never hear. You never hear being asked a male. You also have women being asked about their body, what they're doing for weight loss, what they're doing for keeping their size. And I think it's so silly because as far as men go, men don't go through the hormonal shift that women do to have children. So on one hand, we're being perpetuated on and projected onto that we need to be mothers, and not only that, we need to be the best mothers. And then there's all these definitions of what being the best mother is. And by the way, your body should never look like you've had a baby, and all these hormone fluctuations that even affect the way that your body works, or just like when you're in the pregnancies and you're not able to exercise, you're not able to do what you normally can do, you're on bed rest. There's all these factors that come into play. Or as a nursing mother with newborns or just recovering. And I wrote this in my book. This is actually in the book, and not a lot of people realize this, but having birth is the equivalent of being hit by a car going 20 to 30 miles an hour. That is the damage that occurs on a woman's body. And how many of us put this pressure on ourselves if that were to happen? To be back in our genes or up and going on about our lives in the next 2, 3 weeks, even 2, 3 months. If that was happening, we would understand that. And yet there's this cultural perpetuation of what motherhood is and then what our bodies should be. And we do it to ourselves. Women do it to ourselves. Women do it to each other, but society does it. How many times are we posted on social media, or you see political leaders and women who are being told and they're being criticized for their hair, their makeup, their outfit? They're too slutty, they're not slutty enough, they're rigid, they're prudish, they're fat, they're thin. I mean, this is just insane. And then what I see is, so if you want us to be mothers, show me in society where we value mothers. Show me how we've set up listening to mothers. I come from a conservative religion. Women aren't allowed to be decision makers at the highest level of that. So tell me how a mother's decision, a mother's voice matters here. And how many wars would we have if we had mothers in charge of the world? And I'm not saying that's what we want, but a woman and a mother inherently understands the effort, the energy that it takes to create, cultivate, and sustain life. We don't take it for granted as easily. And so show me in society where there is childcare, where there's maternity leave, where there's health options, where there's insurance, where there's support for mothers, and you show me that you value mothers. And then simultaneously, like if you give us a society that values motherhood, says, oh yeah, we're going to listen to your opinion. Maybe you have something to say. Oh yes, we value the role of motherhood. We're going to make sure that that is a protected space of our human population, of our society. Then that would make sense to me that women would want to be mothers, that women would want to give up their careers and their identities and their choice. But that's not what we see in society today, especially in Western culture. We don't see the value of womanhood and motherhood. And then we look at a woman and we judge her for the type of mother she is, whether she's had kids or she hasn't had kids. And then we also judge her body based on all of these factors that are very affected by being a mother, by the physical toll, emotional toll, mental toll that it takes on being a mother.